Today, I wanted to share with you some new releases that are coming out in the next couple of months that I'm really excited about it. So some of these new releases are ones that I've been waiting for a very long time, and others of them are new releases that I actually just stumbled upon in the past couple of days. And I've just been really in the mood for more contemporary work, so I just thought it'd be kind of fun to read some romance books that are more contemporary. They're like light and fun reads, and I've just been finding a lot with the research that I have been doing, and I wanted to share with you the books that I've been finding. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is called The Love Proof by Madeline Henry. This book came out on February 9th, so by the time you're watching this video, this book will already be out. And what really caught my eye for this book is that it is blurbed by Jill Santopolo, which is the author of The Light We Lost, and I read all of the books that she puts out, and I'm always really excited when she blurbs a book, just because she's like one of my favorite romance authors, even though I do have like a lot of problems with her storylines. But I'm just like always like really curious to see the books that she blurbs. So this book sounds really interesting because it's about this freshman at Yale who's studying physics, and she's trying to prove that love is always connected to you. And then she meets this guy, and then a love story ensues from there. But I've really been liking romance stories that are on college campuses. I just feel like finding books that are set at school is like really hard to find, just because a lot of books are either YA, so it's like high school, or like adult books, which is like post-college, and finding like the book that's kind of in between is really hard to find. But I'm really excited to read this book. I already have most of these books put on hold at the library, so hopefully I will be getting this book in very soon. Also, just as a heads up, there's no promises that I'll actually be reading all of these books. I will give them all a fair shot though, but like I have been DNFing books, but just be on the lookout because I will definitely be completing some of these books, and I'm just really excited to read some really lighthearted and fun romance. The next book that I'm excited to try is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. I think that this book's cover is just so beautiful, and it really caught my eye. I originally saw this book because a lot of people were showing the book of the month picks for February, and this is one of them. This book comes out February 23rd, which is pretty soon, and what this book is about this woman who has a PhD in astronomy, which also it's like pretty cool that these books have female leads that are into the sciences. I really love that. But she has a PhD in astronomy. She's 28 years old. She randomly gets married to a woman that she barely knows in Vegas, and then she ultimately moves to New York City. So obviously one of the draws of this book is the fact that a lot of it's going to be taking place in New York, which is like one of my favorite things, especially in romance. Also, I know there's a dynamic with her and her father where she's kind of rebelling against her father's expectations of what he wants for her life. And I really like the coming of age novels where it's women in their early 20s like trying to make their way through their early adulthood, because that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. And I thought this book sounded really interesting, and I'm really excited to give it a try. So this next book is definitely not a romance from what I know of it, because it's a Stephen King book, and it's called Later. I believe this book is coming out on March 2nd, and it's going to be obviously his latest novel that he's coming out with. If you've been watching my channel, you know I've been really getting into Stephen King. I've been reading a lot of his earlier, more like classic works, but I thought that I would give his new book a chance because I want to read more of his modern stuff, and this book seems pretty short and fun. So basically, I believe this is about a boy who has special abilities, and as it says on Goodreads, an NYPD detective draws him into the pursuit of a killer who has threatened to strike from beyond the grave. So not only does that sound interesting, but because there's the NYPD, I'm like, is this also set in New York? Because I have read one thing of King's where it was set in New York, so I know he has the ability to do that. And I think this book will be really fun just to have like a thriller, like a fast-paced novel, and also just get another Stephen King book under my belt and just to see what else he comes out with. This next book is one of those books that I've been waiting on forever, and it's called Everything After by Jill Santopolo. Again, I talk about The Light We Lost a lot on my channel. Jill Santopolo only has 2 adult fiction books out, which is The Light We Lost and More Than Words, which I actually just reread. I've been waiting. Every time I read one of her books, I'm always like waiting a year, 2 years for her next book to come out, and it has finally happened. So this book is coming out on March 9th, and in the description it says that it's kind of a mix of The Light We Lost and Daisy Jones and the Six, which I know Daisy Jones and the Six is a really popular book as well, but I am so excited to read this book for so many reasons. All of her books are set in New York City. I know like I'm a broken record, but I'm really excited about that. So the main character is a psychologist at NYU who helps troubled college students. I'm assuming that there's going to be a romance element to it because that's what Jill Santopolo likes. Again, this is like with the female lead going into the science field. I think that's so cool and interesting to learn about, but I'm just hoping that this book kind of breaks her pattern when it comes to her romance books. I feel like The Light We Lost and More Than Words are definitely like different stories, but there's some like themes and elements that are so similar, and I kind of wish that this next book doesn't have those and it's like a totally brand new story. But I will read this book right when it gets in my hands. I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to share with you what I think about it when that day actually comes. Okay, this book is another book that I've been waiting for a very long time. It is My Ride or Die by Leslie Cohen. As you know, This Love Story Will Self-Destruct is one of my favorite books of all time. It's just a book that means a lot to me, and it's Leslie Cohen's debut novel, so I've been really hoping and that she comes out with another book, and also just like really curious to see what else she writes. So I believe this book is about two women who've had like pretty bad or rough love lives, and they decide to kind of just say no to men and just have each other in their lives, and then kind of have men be like a side thing, and then one person gets into a relationship and they kind of have to like reevaluate what's going on. So this definitely is like a different theme or pattern than her other book, which is just more like a boy meets girl kind of romance book. But I'm so excited. Yes, this takes place in New York City, and I'm so excited for this book. I don't think I'll like it as much as This Love Story Will Self-Destruct, but it's okay because I'm so really excited to see what she puts out there. And I know her first book didn't really get a lot of like raving reviews, and I'm really hoping this book like really helps catapult her career, because I just think that she's such an amazing author who deserves to be read more. But let's just say that I'm very excited to read this book. I forgot to mention when this book actually comes out. It comes out April 20th, which actually I forgot that it's coming out in April and not March, but that's okay. I will put it on hold at the library the second that it comes in stock. But yeah, I just can't wait to get my hands on this book as well. So I literally just found this book the other day. It's called One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, which is the same author who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I knew like blew up on BookTube. I actually never read that book just because like the plot like never interested me. This book comes out June 1st. I found it because I was looking at like upcoming romance releases, and let's just say I saw the cover and I saw the Q train, and I was like, okay, well, it's gonna be set in New York. I love the Q train. I take it all the time, and I need to read this book. So all I know, it's about this girl who's 23, moves to New York City, and I think there's like, she meets a girl on the train, and like a romance goes from there. And I mean, yeah, what can I say? I just want to read this book because it's set in New York, and again, it's a coming of age novel in New York. Like, those are two things that I usually like, so I'm definitely keeping this book on my radar. Obviously, I have a little ways to go until I can actually read it, but I am pretty excited to read this book. Let me know if you've read Red, White, and Royal Blue, because again, it's like a very popular book, and if you like her writing style. I've never read it before, but I'm definitely willing to give her a chance. So those are all the books upcoming that I'm really excited about. Obviously, if any new ones come on my radar in the next few months, I will definitely make another video and keep you guys updated. Let me know if you've heard of any of those books. I know that they're not the most hyped books ever, but except the last book that I just mentioned, I think I have seen on BookTube. Also Honey Girl I've seen, but some of the others I haven't seen as much. So let me know if you are going to be reading any of those books, or if there's any new releases that you're excited about that kind of have a similar vibe to the ones that I just mentioned. Please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm very excited to hear from you. But thank you so much for getting all the way until the end of this video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.